Hi everyone, this is Lodius from Deepwood. This is a quick little guide to show you how to play a TacBard and how to rotate your abilities to maximize your healing. Now I'm not the best TacBard in the world, so feel free to experiment, but this should give you a good indicator on what you should be doing for the most part. So let's go ahead and start with your abilities. First we have Imperium Bolt. This is going to be your combo point builder, and used in conjunction with Restorative Engine will be your primary source of healing as well. The tooltip here in the video shows 434 healing per Imperium Bolt, which may not seem like much, but that's going to scale up as your attack power goes up during the fight. Like your primary amplification gets applied, stacks of reverberation, things like that. I'll get to those in a second. So Curative Restoration is your Bard healing finisher. Obviously, besides 5 combo points doing more healing, you also have a 20% chance per combo point for reverberation to get applied. So 5 combo points is a 100% guarantee to apply a stack of reverb when using any coda. So as you can see here, reverb increases your attack power by 8% per stack up to 5 stacks. So that's 40% more attack power. And as I said before, reverb has a 100% chance to be applied when any 5-point Bard finisher is used, not just Coda of Resto. So Coda of Jeopardy, Coda of Cowardice, Coda of Distress, which are your 3 Bard debuff finishers, will also apply stacks, refresh the timer on motifs, refresh reverb. Coda of Wrath will as well, but if you're using TacBard to begin with, I'm assuming you're doing it for the healing benefit and debuffs and not for DPSing, so you shouldn't be using Coda of Wrath. So your other primary finisher is Curative Blast, and that's your Tactician finisher. So it applies a 15-second heal over time to your raid members, and the more combo points, up to 5, the more healing it'll do. One of the other benefits of casting Curative Blast, or any Tactician finisher, which in this case for TacBard is going to be Curative Blast, is you're going to get a 30-second buff that gives you 10% more damage and healing, so it's a really good benefit to your healing. One thing that's nice about this as well is you don't need a 5-point Curative Blast to get the primary amplification buff. It isn't percentage chance per combo point to gain the buff or anything like that. A 1 combo point Curative Blast, although it's going to give you crappy healing over time, will still apply the 10% damage and healing bonus to all the rest of your heals. So if you're needing to get that buff up quickly for whatever reason, you can, but most of the time, once your rotation is going, you should be able to throw up 5 combo point Curative Blasts. So next up are your 3 motifs, and individually these are all really nice raid buffs to have up, and they should stay up the entire fight. You never let these fall off. It's very easy to keep them up once you have them up. Just like reverb, they have a 20% chance per combo point on a Bard finisher only, which is the various codas, to refresh the timer on all 3. On top of their individual benefits, all raid members that have all 3 on them will get resonance. This is going to increase all your attributes by 5 for the entire raid, so this is a huge boost. And it's another reason why you should never let your motifs fall off during the fight. Next we have Curative Core. This is another heal over time, and it's completely independent of combo points, so you can cast it whenever it's off cooldown. The primary thing to note about Curative Core is that it does have a range, so wherever you drop the core on the ground, you need to make sure it's near as many raid members as possible, or near whichever raid members might need the extra healing over time. And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere it has something like a 25-meter range or something like that, so keep that in mind when dropping Curative Core. This is Curative Remote. This is a debuff that gets placed on your primary target, so it's usually the boss you're fighting, and like the tooltip says, it heals whoever attacks the target affected by it. So this is also combo point independent, so you can kind of weave it into your rotation whenever and wherever you want. And lastly we have Battle Remote, which is just a temporary damage and healing increase that the TacBard benefits from only. It's 20% for 10 seconds, so save this for something like Tempest of Agony, the channel attack on the last boss of TDQ, lots of AoE, or maybe an Orbital Strike on Crucia. It's usually a good idea to use it then. And Power Core. Like Curative Core, this does have something like a 25-meter range, so keep that in mind when putting it down. It increases the damage taken by whatever enemies are affected by it by 10% for 15 seconds. And it doesn't stack with other Power Cores, and it doesn't stack with Wild Growth. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're dropping it. Try and separate those buffs out. Usually some kind of raid message macro showing everyone you just popped it is a good idea. That way nobody's overlapping each other. And Power Core will also overwrite your Curative Core. You can only have one core up at a time, so make sure that you don't overwrite your own healing buffs and things like that. So let's jump into an actual fight here, and you can kind of see what's going on. I'm just spamming up to 5 combo points and then casting a finisher. Right there I just did a coda, refreshed my motifs. Back up to 5, I just put a coda debuff on the boss, spam it back up. Another coda there, coda of Jeopardy I think. Spamming up to 5 again, throw up a curative blast. And there it is, and it also refreshed my primer amplification buff, so that's 10% more healing for 30 seconds. And that should stay up pretty much the whole time. And there I just did another coda, refreshed my motifs again, spamming back to 5. And it just keeps going back and forth like that. And see my motifs are getting kind of low. There's a 5-point coda again, refreshed it. Keep spamming, really simple. And you pretty much want to be using every single global cooldown. So you can see here I'm on Volon, and in a second here, when you see a lot of AoE damage going out, you'll really start to see where a TacBard really shines, and it's really on that AoE damage. Back up to 5 combo points, just put up my Curative Blast again. Spamming back to 5, and then I'll use a coda, that refresh my motifs again. Probably throw a Curative Remote in there. That's up again. Just put my Curative Core back up again, and you can see just massive AoE heals going out. Spam back up to 5. You see my Curative Blast is down. It's back up again. And you can see I'm using K alerts as well, and I highly recommend K alerts. It makes managing your cooldowns a lot easier. So you don't have to be glancing up in that right-hand corner there, trying to look at which buffs are up or down or whatever. Especially in a 20-man, because there's going to be a lot of buffs going up and falling off, and trying to like pick out the individual buffs that you want to keep up out of all those buffs that are flying across the screen up there and shifting positions. It's very difficult and annoying. So same thing here, just spamming to 5, casting a coda, spamming to 5, casting Curative Blast, putting Curative Remote up whenever I think about it. But pretty much whenever you see it wear off in your K alert, you should be able to put it back up, putting Curative Core back up as necessary. And you can weave in your Power Core and your Battle Remote when you need the extra heals, or when you need to boost the raid DPS a little bit, like maybe on a burn phase of some kind. The only thing you're ever going to do here differently is maybe in a 10-man you might spam up to 5 and use your coda debuffs instead of doing a coda of resto. But in a 20-man you really shouldn't have to worry about that. The Archon should be taking care of that. So that's all there is to it, just back and forth between Bard and Tactician finishers. Simple.